How's it going, everybody? It is the Awesemo.com NHL DFS Strategy Show. Another three-gamer tonight. We've had, this is our third one in a row. So we'll do the normal thing. We'll talk some strategy for three gamers. We'll talk some showdown if you guys want to talk showdown. I know there's been more and more interest in that. We've seen some bigger prize pools in some of these night games across the sites. And then I'll also talk about last night, see if there's anything we can learn from that. I don't think any of what are your guys' thoughts, I guess? Once we get some more people in the chat, I'm sure there will be some more chatter just about the quality of play. I think it's been really fun so far. I haven't been able to watch every game, but I'm pretty sure I've caught parts of pretty much all games. So, and it really hasn't disappointed. The only full game I think I've watched start to finish was the Wild and the Golden Knights. And for a 1-0 game, that was about as good as you can ask for. Tampa and Florida, like all three of these games were really awesome when they played on Sunday. So it's nice that we've got, the same teams to talk about. This isn't a new case this year. Teams playing handfuls of games against each other in a row. So that's something that I'm pretty used to. I think none of the matchups were all that surprising, I don't think. But we do have a couple of game time decisions tonight that could prove to be pretty costly or, provide an edge depending on what happens. Pacioretty, questionable. He was questionable last Sunday night. You got Sam Bennett being suspended somehow. So there's a couple pieces of news, but 3-game slate, prize pool is looking pretty good across the board. So figured that we would have a show. Off the top, we didn't quite reach 2,000 likes yesterday. I think we were a couple short. So Josh is not getting his Kermit the Frog, Artem Zub jersey tattoo, at least not yet. I don't know. Maybe we'll run it back. I think those guys are scheduled to be on tomorrow. I think we've got I think it's a 4-gamer tomorrow. So the prize pools will hopefully keep up and we can continue to fill them or get close to filling them. And then, we can have a couple more weeks of solid contests. So that's what I'm hoping for. Hopefully you guys have made some money in the first few games, the first few slates of the playoffs. If you haven't, this is your night. And I actually prefer these teams playing a bunch of games against each other. So I like the series. I think I've done pretty well in playoffs over the last couple of years. So far, done okay. I think I'm slightly profitable in the first couple slates, but that doesn't really matter. Could easily go very well or very poorly in just a couple days. So we'll see where we're at. Projections, ownership projections, the lineup builder, everything is updated. I think I need to push one more projections update, and then we're pretty much good. Got to decide what I'm doing with Pacioretty, but everything will be updated as the day goes on. We've got a 7:30 Eastern lock, so a little bit later, same time as last night. Hopefully we get a little push for filling the contests once baseball and NBA might actually be later tonight. I guess I'm not really sure, but we have a ton of NBA coverage coming up later tonight. Playing games start this evening. We've got MLB. Just basically every sport is being covered. PGA was on right before this. PGA Championship this week. So just crazy big contests, as there always are for majors. A lot to be excited about, but can't forget about hockey. So if you're new, welcome. I'm assuming most of you have watched before, but let's go over some lineup study from last night. Review a couple winning lineups. Got some familiar names up at the top. JMB Cub, 8 entries, took down the number one spot in the playoff puck drop, 20K to first, with Stahl and Pesci 2-man, DeBrusk, Richie 2-man with Mike Riley. I guess you call it a 3-man. Tuukka Rask saw a ton of volume, which I wasn't projecting. I don't think a lot of people were, but was 16% owned, 23.7 points. Even though he allowed 3 goals, he got it done with the bonus and the OT win. And then, not surprising, McKinnon, Landeskog, and Rantanen. So pretty good looking lineup. I mean, 3-2-1. I don't know that I'd want off Stahl that often, but it worked last night. I mean, he's not like, the worst center. He's not Wenberg or someone who just like never shoots, but not a super high upside guy for 4,100. But had a really nice game last night. 23 points. Pesci got a couple assists. Maybe had a blocks bonus in there as well. So definitely worked out for JMB Cub. Whistles go woo. Got second. Our buddy Whistles go woo, who's come onto the scene and had a couple huge nights. I think this is a pretty good lineup. Well, I was thinking that was Aho up on with Stahl and Svechnikov and Teravainen, like some sort of hybrid stack. But you've got guys that were listed on 3 separate lines on Carolina. Or I guess you played Carolina 1 without Aho, which I wouldn't want to do too many times. But yeah, I guess it is a hybrid stack. But usually when I do 4 forwards, I like to throw in a defenseman. But that's just me. Double defenseman from the same team, Grzelcyk and Mike Riley with Tuukka Rask. Can't complain about the McKinnon Landeskog 2-man. Like, can't really find too many better 2-mans for that to fill it out. I'm assuming you couldn't afford Rantanen in the spot. These salaries are, by the way, these are incorrect. McKinnon was not. He was not 11,000 last night. That was showdown pricing. So sometimes it gets looked up on Fantasy Cruncher, but yeah, typical Whistles go woo lineup. Two defensemen from the same team that were not correlated, not on the same power play, not in the same even strength pairing, plus the goalie. And then, yeah, can't really argue with what he's doing, I suppose. So, that happens. But yeah, just wanted to look at those 2 lineups very quickly. And then we'll keep this pretty short and sweet. I saw Jeremy took down our League of Legends expert. I think this is him. Took down the $40, won 5K with just 1 lineup. Pretty impressive stuff here. Stahl, Jesper Fast, Andrei Svechnikov, just your 4-3-1, but Anderson and Dimitrov did not correlate as goalie, but good lineup there. Congrats to him. I doubt he's watching the show, but if he is, that is good stuff. Drewby got second. 3 lineups. That's all it took for him with a similar build. The 3-3 with Carolina 3, Colorado 1. Drewby did correlate his lineup here. Nedeljkovic and Brett Pesci was the 4-man. So Connor Clifton was his one-off. Min salary, $2,500. Got him to the right lineup construction to almost take that down. So good stuff there. Showdown. Yeah. Actually, you sound so salty when you talk about that guy. No, I'm not. I don't know. Maybe I am salty. I don't know, but it's just very unconventional the way he plays. So I heard him on Overzet's and Brick's show, Brick 75. If you guys haven't watched them, you should. It's a Wednesday night show. It's called Lulz. And they brought on Whistles Go Woo after the infamous interview. Actually, it was a couple weeks ago, so it was a couple episodes back. If you guys want to check that out, I think he is a really smart guy. I don't know how well his strategies are going to hold up in NHL, but if I had to guess, I would think he's probably a profitable player this year. I haven't been really tracking him too much since until a month ago. So I guess I don't know for sure, but he's playing everything, just winning with some very, very unconventional NHL lineups. So unconventional can be good. Well, this can't be true. Blashill got a contract extension. I'm just looking on my other screen. Sorry, I very distracted here. I thought this was a fake account. Blashill has agreed to a contract extension to remain head coach of the Red Wings. Good God. I thought this guy was going to be out of our lives. Get an assistant job somewhere. I can't believe that. I can't believe they're keeping him around. Okay. Yeah, Bennett suspended for boarding penalty, just complete garbage. I mean, the officiating in that game was garbage. I don't know how Bennett gets not only a hearing, but a suspension while McDonough tried to end Duclair's life and did not get so much as a hearing. Was it even a penalty during the game? I can't even remember. Just NHL up to their tricks. Whatever. Can't really do anything for DFS, except now that takes away. That's really going to hurt Florida. That second line was awesome. Now you replace him with Wenberg. Like, Bennett had been scoring a bunch. Wenberg, while he might be a okay real life player, he's not going to put up multi-point games that often. In fact, he was playing with Hornquist and Huberdeau for a good portion of the season and wasn't doing much of anything. I know he had a few goals. I think he had like 10 or 12 goals this season. But not really a high upside play. So that stinks. If you want to play Sam Bennett tonight, I certainly was going to be on him. But got to play the cards that we are dealt. If you guys haven't checked out Jock Market, some of you may have noticed in the top right of your screen, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see we've got a new deposit bonus code, Awesemo 50. So it used to be Awesemo NHL 20. I don't know if that code's still valid. Don't use that because you're going to want to take advantage today of the $50 deposit bonus with code Awesemo 50. If you haven't checked out Jock Market just yet, it is basically a combination of fantasy sports and the stock market. You can do all the things that you can do in the stock market, but instead of buying and selling stocks, you're buying and selling players in real time. Obviously, the guaranteed payouts, all the stuff you guys hear Cliffy and I talk about. And they are helping us out a lot, helping continue make these streams free. So if you want these to remain free, go not only check out Jock Market, but use our deposit bonus. It helps them out. It helps you out. It helps everybody out if you use the $50 deposit bonus for your first deposit only. Again, Awesemo 50. So shout out to Jock Market upping the deposit bonus when most sites aren't really doing deposit bonuses anymore. Not since 2016, 17 DFS where the site's doing that all the time. So it's hard to find one that is allowing for that, and Jock Market is one of the few. So go support. Should we talk about the games here? Actually, really quick, let me talk about, we've got a promo going on. These solo shows can be clunky, so I want to make sure I hit off everything on the top, off the top that you guys need to know. We've got a promo code going on called Gold Rush. This page that I'm on right now is just awesemo.com/promos. If you ever want to, if you're ever wondering if we've got promo codes going on, this is the page where you're going to see all that information. So if we've got nothing, there will just be, you'll just see this part. But if we do have a promo code going on, and we do right now, you will see it right at the top. You will have a link directly if you to join that. If you want to take advantage there, promo code Gold Rush is going to get you 25% off a month-long subscription of Awesemo Plus Platinum. So if you want everything on the site, this would be excluding Fantasy Cruncher, although you can add it on for an additional charge. Everything on the site, 25% off for your first month. You can try MLB. There's a major this week, PGA. You can try, well, there's no NFL going on, but NBA playoffs, obviously starting NHL. I love NHL. As you guys know, a bunch of you probably have the platinum already, but you get access to every single Slack chat that we have as well. get access to Alex and Steve Buzzards doing office hours and Josh doing office hours for NBA and MLB. It's a really, really good deal. We don't often do monthly, any sort of monthly promo codes anymore, unless it's a very, very special time. This is one of those times. So promo code Gold Rush will get you 25% off a month-long subscription of everything on the site if you purchase the Awesemo Plus Platinum monthly pass. So do that. I mean, that's the one I always suggest to people, but it is the best value if you're going to play multiple sports. If you're going to play one sport, maybe not the promo code for you, and just wait until the next one comes along. But if you're going to play multiple sports, like, it's just easily the best bang for your buck, and you get everything. You might be able to try out new sports. You might be able to try out MMA or NASCAR or any of the other main sports, esports. If you want to try that out, we've got pretty much everything where there are contests offered across the sites. The games, Islanders and Penguins, we've got 2.6 implied total for the Isles, 2.8 for the Penguins. Sounds like Sorokin's going to go for the Islanders, although Barry Trotz said Varlamov was going to be available for tonight. He said he's going to have a Russian goalie in net tonight. So he didn't really help us out there. They are the same price on DK. They're the same price on FanDuel. So it's not going to be that big of a deal. Just do a quick global swap. But that's one piece of news that you're going to want to pay attention to in this game. It's going to be Tristan Jarry for the Penguins on the other side. Islanders going to roll their same lineup, I would assume. They won the game. They scored 5 goals. This third line was absolutely cooking. The Penguins, on the other hand, Dumoulin is a game time decision, as is Evgeny Malkin. Malkin wouldn't really change how I feel about Pittsburgh that much, and I don't think I would play a bunch of Malkin, but if he's in, you're probably just going to want to make sure you get the correct line combinations. Whether it's, I would think maybe McCann drops down with Zucker and Rodriguez. I can't remember if that's been a thing. This fourth line that you see on the screen, that's probably going to remain intact. It pretty much has the entire season. So I think Frederick Gaudreau comes out. Malkin slides in with Carter and Carter and Kapanen. And then McCann drops down with Zucker and Rodriguez, but that's pure speculation. It could just be Malkin sliding in for Freddie Gaudreau. CC played 26 minutes last time. Wow. That's a lot of minutes for Mr. CC. He's probably going to play less tonight if Dumoulin can play, but definitely someone to keep your eye on. Anytime you can get a guy in a short slate, not going to be very owned and going to play a lot of minutes, you got to at least give him a look. So what do we like in this game? For me, I'm a little sad that Pittsburgh is getting so much ownership. I think this is a really good spot for Pitt 1. Wasn't really sold on them coming into Sunday in this matchup, but they generated over 20 shot attempts, a bunch of scoring chances. The expected goals looked great for them. And they didn't match anyone. They didn't hard match anyone, at least. So they're probably going to see the most time against Isles 1 and Isles 2, but I wouldn't even be surprised if they saw 3 or 4 minutes at 5-on-5 against Isles 3. And that's probably the best way to do it, is just to play them their 21, 22 minutes and play them against whoever. It's not like the Isles. It's not like any of these lines is someone you want to pick on for the Isles, but Pitt 1 is a very good line. Their numbers have calmed down since the red hot start, but still good enough to where I would consider them one of the top lines, at least playing tonight. They're no Barkov, Verhaeghe, and Duclair. Let's not get it twisted there, but they're definitely up there. I mean, fully correlated on the power play. You love that. Maybe if Malkin slides in, you might get some ownership on that second line. It looks like the second line, as currently constructed with Carter, McCann, and Kasperi Kapanen, coming in at about 8 to 10% on DK. I think that's all right, but I'd much rather go with Pitt 1 if I'm playing a lot of Pitt, or just go to their power play, even though it is a pretty low implied total on both sides. But it's the playoffs; you're going to get low implied totals pretty much all around. On the Islanders, It seems chasey, but this Islanders third line played really well in the last game, and they're still dirt cheap. Palmieri 3,100, Pajot 3,600. There was some debate about Pajot in the premium Slack earlier today. I'm kind of indifferent on him. Not someone that I love really as a one-off. But if you want to go Pajot, Palmieri, Pajot, Wahlstrom, or the full line, I really like that. Again, I don't think they're going to see a ton of time against Crosby, Gensel, and Rust. Probably a couple minutes here and there, a few shifts here and there, I guess is probably the better way to say it. But, the good news is that they're not going to get hard matched on Crosby unless, Pittsburgh just completely goes with the separate game plan after the loss 2 nights ago. So like Islanders 3, definitely like Pitt 1. I'm just worried that I'm not going to get over the field on them because their ownership is high, relatively high. And, I think I like Florida 1 a little bit more for their price and at the ownership. So we'll get to that game in just a minute. Letang, I'm only playing with Pitt 1 or Pitt 2. You could probably make a case for that, but there aren't that many Letang games where he goes off without Pitt 1 going off. I know it'll happen every once in a while. I think we had one a week or two ago, but he's not a one-off guy for me. Matheson, CC, those two guys are okay. We already got a CC mention in chat, but Matheson's fine as well. It sounds like Matheson's good to go. He's removed the face mask back to the face shield for him. So getting healthier for 3,100, probably going to play around 20 minutes. Just going back to the Islanders forwards right now, I was getting a bunch of Isles too, but I don't really know how I feel about that. I know they're cheap, but it feels kind of just like you're playing them because they're a good value and not necessarily because it's a good spot, which is what I don't like to do. Same thing with Isles 1. Barzal, Eberle, great. I like those two guys a lot. So if you want to go 2-man there, I don't mind it. But the problem is Leo Komarov's on their line. And while their line has really good numbers, Komarov doesn't tend to contribute very often. So kind of down on the Islanders as a whole here outside of that third line. And if you want to leave off Pajot, you could just go Palmieri, Wahlstrom. Those two that's a pretty good looking mini stack for $6K on DraftKings tonight, but they're not going to go completely overlooked or anything like that, especially after the big game on Sunday. Mayfield, Leddy, Pulock, Pelich, just kind of pick any of those guys out of a hat, however you want to do it. Leddy goes a little bit better with Isles 2 and Isles 3. Dobson is listed on the top power play, but it's probably Pulock for me for 4,500 right now. Let's see, actually, I ran crunches a little bit before the show, so I guess I could play the slate if it started right now, but I don't have any Isles defenseman over 10%. Yeah, Pulock's my highest owned guy at 13 lineups out of 150. I don't see that going up too high. I think these guys are just kind of, you mix them in if you're MMEing. None of these guys I don't think would be in my pool if I was 3-maxing or, in my high stakes lineups. I'm not like trying to put any of these Islanders defensemen in my lineups. If they end up there, okay. But there's just not a lot of, I don't think there's that much difference between $2,900 Pelech, $3,700 Mayfield, and $3,500 Leddy. So let's go to the next game. My favorite game, the Lightning and the Panthers. We've got a 3.1 implied total for the Lightning, 2.9 for the Panthers. Vasilevsky and Chris Driedger are your goalies. This one could have been even better, I think, if Sam Bennett was able to play. Bennett's suspended. If you missed that somehow, he's suspended. And that means Wenberg's going to slide up with Huberdeau and Tippett. Achara, you're going to slide up from line 4 to line 3 with Petrano. and Hornquist, and then Lemico is going to center the fourth line of Lomberg and Mason Marchment. So that's certainly going to hurt the Panthers' depth, not having Sam Bennett, who was playing like one of the top centers in the league for the last month. Who knows what Calgary was doing? Josh was talking about it a little bit on the show yesterday. Wow, I mean, what is going on with Calgary? He couldn't crack the top six, and now I know he's playing with Huberdeau. Huberdeau's a very good player, but he just comes in and starts lighting it up. He's like a 1.2 point per game player or whatever. Like, maybe it's a fluke, but I don't. I think Bennett might just be good, or this is just a really good situation for him. So Calgary, I don't know what you're doing, but it's certainly not working. And that's why you're playing a 3 p.m. game on a Tuesday afternoon when the playoffs are starting elsewhere and you are not a part of them. Point, Kucherov, and Palat. So they're going to be popular, right? But not like Colorado 1 popular was last night. It's the 3-game slate. If they're going to stick around 20% as a full stack, I think I'm okay with that. I would like to see Barkov, Verhaeghe, and Duclair hard match this line. It didn't happen last game. I don't know if it's going to happen this game. But I prefer the Florida 1. The Florida 1s here. I really, really love Verhaeghe playing with Barkov. And it's not, me loving them like I'm uncovering anything, but they've just been amazing at 5-on-5. So while the power play correlation isn't amazing for Florida 1, you get 2 guys in the second unit. They actually have the better defenseman on that unit. Montour, who's been playing well, and then Uyghur, 5,100. But yeah, I really, really like this Florida side. I don't love how the lines are constructed outside of Florida 1. And there's holes to poke in them. Wenberg's on the top power play. Huberdeau's not with Barkov. But I think they should have won that game 2 nights ago. I think they probably win this one. They've got their better goalie in net, who they didn't start in game 1. Drieger's just been better than Bobrovsky this season and last season. I think they win this. And I think Florida continues to put up a lot of goals. Tampa was one of the most highly penalized teams in the NHL last season. And if Barkov's not going to face against the toughest matchup here for the majority of the game, and he gets the Cirelli line, I think that's a great, great matchup for one of the best lines in the league. So, yeah, I love Barkov. He's my highest owned forward right now. Verhaeghe not far behind him. Duclair not far behind him. So Florida 1 is probably my favorite play on the entire slate. As for, you mentioned Wenberg. Is it Wenberg night? There's been some talk about Wenberg in the Slack as well. I'm not going to slander Wenberg. Whatever. He's been okay this season. Doesn't shoot a lot, but he has scored a handful of goals, and he's just not quite Sam Bennett level, as they always say. But that does make the second line a little bit cheaper. I would probably only include Wenberg. Like, don't play Wenberg as a one-off. If he has a solid game here, if he has a multi-point game, it's probably due to Huberdeau and Tippett scoring the goals. But like I said, Tampa 1, I'm fine with them. If they're going to be this ownership, they're going to come up to like closer to 30, 35%. I'll just get some more exposure elsewhere and go, get half the field on them. In MME, I'll probably include, because I'm a coward, I'll probably include a Tampa 1 lineup in one of my higher stakes lineups, like in the 333 or the 150, just to try to hedge if I end up underweight on them. That's kind of how I decide on my my 3 to 5 higher stakes teams. Defenseman, you could play Hedman. He got, I don't want to say bailed out because Tampa power play is awesome when Kucherov and Stamkos are back. But he did kind of get bailed out with 3 power play assists. Not a great peripherals game for him. He hasn't been an amazing peripherals guy recently. So maybe he's just sandbagging for the playoffs. He is 6,100. That's a pretty good price for Hedman, but he's going to be 25% owned according to our ownership projections. So I think I'd rather go with some of the Vegas guys as your last guy in. They might come in at a little bit lower ownership than Hedman, but I don't want to dump on Hedman. I'm going to have some of him for sure. I basically always have some of these expensive defensemen regardless of how expensive they actually are, because they don't project as like the most amazing plays, but they do get you some differentiation. So I usually have one of the more expensive defensemen in pretty much all my lineups. I rarely double punt. Rarely. Don't play Jan Ruda, 2,700 for him. He's probably going to play like 10 to 12 minutes as he did last game. I know there were a lot of power plays last game, so maybe he gets like 13 or 14, but a lot of empty minutes there. You're going to see the rest of the five guys play, 19 to 23 minutes, and then Ruda probably play like 10 to 14, somewhere in there. Sergachev, 4,600, manning the second unit. Not too concerned about the second unit, especially with Kucherov back. But if you wanted to play Sergachev as a one-off guy, that is okay with me. McDonough should be suspended for this game. He's not, so I guess you could play him for 4,100. Uyghur and Montour, I like a lot, actually. Whether you're playing Florida 1 or not, just one-off guys. It's weird to want a one-off $5,100 Mackenzie Uyghur, but I think this is not too bad of a spot for him. And we're actually projecting him for a bunch of ownership. So Montour saves $1,500 if you want to go down to him. Again, I think both of those are pretty quality options. Will Vegas score a goal tonight? Liquid Demon says. I would predict Vegas does score a goal tonight. Yes. That will be a bold prediction. I actually didn't think of a hat trick pick, but I don't think I'll have a tough time coming up with one. Okay. This is actually the first time I'm seeing this. Minnesota and Vegas, 2.4 applied total. 3 for the Knights. Cam Talbot and Marc-Andre Fleury just got confirmed prior to me coming onto this stream. Are you guys seeing Alex Tuck with Chandler Stevenson and Mark Stone? Because I didn't see that earlier, but it's possible. Tuck, Stevenson, and Stone. It's not actually that. Oh, okay. So they went to that last game. Got it. So that's what we're going with. They went to that mid last game. I think that's fine. But if Max Pacioretty can be back, I think that this slate is completely different if Max Pacioretty's back. And why I think that is, and we're not going to know that, but why I think that is because Stone and Stevenson together haven't been very good at 5-on-5 without Pacioretty. So I actually have the stats. I queued this up in Natural Stat Trick. Wisco Wu probably playing Uyghur and Montour. Yeah, the two-man. Although those guys play on the second power play together, so I don't hate it. And of course, now I click away on something on Natural Stat Trick. Okay, this season, Stevenson, Stone, Pacioretty, 54 Corsi for percentage, expected goals percentage 57%. Great expected goals for, closer to 3. Expected goals against, right around 2. Stone and Stevenson without Pacioretty, 178 minutes. So this is a pretty decent sample. They've tried Janmark up there. They tried Nosek up there. They've tried Alex Tuck a bunch up there when Pacioretty's missed games. 1.86 expected goals for that duo without Pacioretty, and 2.3 expected goals against per 60. So a thoroughly average defensive line without Max there. And with him, one of the best lines in hockey. So not to say that you can't play Tuck, Stevenson, Stone if they're together, but I'm going to wait as long as possible to make a decision on what I want to do with Max Pacioretty here. Because if he's in, Tuck sliding down to line 3, Kolesar will slide down to line 4, and then it'll be Carrier or Nosek who's out probably. And that line's going to get Kaprizov, Hartman, and Zuccarello, which is a line I'm very interested in, assuming Pacioretty doesn't play. Sorry, I might not have said that correctly. You ever say something and then you just think about what you said and it just doesn't sound right? That's what I just did right there. So I'll say that again in case I completely messed up. If Pacioretty does not play, I really, really love Minnesota too. And I'm still somewhat interested in Minnesota too, should Pacioretty play. But like if we knew he wasn't playing, I think Minnesota 2 might be one of my highest exposed lines on the slate just because of what I mentioned with the numbers. I think they're going to see a lot of Stevenson Stone, but not that worried about him if Pacioretty doesn't play. Vegas actually did something pretty sharp, I think. They have one of the better fourth lines, I believe, in hockey. Nosek and Reeves, or Carrier, Reeves, and it was Kolesar. They're at least going to bring some physicality, and they went up against Eriksson at Greenway and Foligno for a lot of the game. I think that's pretty sharp. Didn't work out for them ultimately, but they put up 42 shots. Like I think if they do that more often than not, they're going to be okay in this series. Minnesota is a formidable team, but for me right now, they're pretty much a one-line team. And well, they're like a 1.75 line team scoring because Minnesota won, Eriksson at Greenway and Foligno. Like they're just amazing defensively and they're okay offensively. They're solid enough. None of their guys play on the power play currently. And then you've got Kaprizov and Zuccarello who have scored a bunch of points this year. My gripe with them when they played with Victor Rask was that they didn't have good 5-on-5 numbers. So I wasn't that much of a believer. With Hartman on that line, they've just been absurdly good. Closer to 4 expected goals for per 60 in 86 minutes. So it's not like they played 2 games, had one amazing game, and we're talking about a 22-minute sample. 86 minutes together, that's like 6-7 games, right? Like of just 5-on-5 ice time. Plus you get power play time for all 3. And you don't have to deal with Victor Rask. So I think Hartman's a much better player than Rask. He's definitely better for DFS, and he's actually cheaper than Rask. So, and if they're going to get Stevenson Stone and Tuck, that's fine. That trio hasn't been great. If they're going to get Carlson, Marshall, Smith, even better. The one thing that would deter me was that if Pacioretty's in. So I think Pacioretty probably doesn't play here. They're being really weird about his injury, Cliffy pointed out. Like he wasn't supposed to be out this long. He was supposed to be back for game 1. I haven't heard anything besides game time decision tonight. So it might be worth it to crunch like Pacioretty's in. I think that is a pretty big risk if you do that. Not saying I'm not going to do that. It's definitely something I'm going to consider, but it honestly might be worth it because if you can get low-owned Pacioretty in the late night hammer, he's going to be 4 or 5% owned at most. So, but yeah, Minnesota 2 is pretty much all I'm looking at on the Minnesota side. I'm doing a lot of 3-2-1s tonight. I've been doing a lot of 3-2-1s on these shorter slates. I think I'm sticking with that tonight and seeing which lineups grade out the best for me. A lot of those lineups right now, though, are Minnesota 2, whether it's full Minnesota 2 or Kaprizov Zuccarello or Kaprizov Hartman or Kaprizov one-offs. This guy's electric. I love playing this guy. He's got to be quickly becoming one of the scarier fades. Like if you're anti-sweating Kirill Kaprizov tonight, you would never feel comfortable. This guy's just a highlight waiting to happen. Obviously loves playing hockey. He's just a stud. So, and he's playing on a great line right now. And it's potentially a sneaky good matchup despite the low total. So I'm all over Minnesota 2 currently. Do we even know what's wrong with Pacioretty? I don't, but I don't keep up on injuries. I have no idea what the injury is. Minnesota's roster isn't that bad outside of Kaprizov. Eriksson at Greenway Foligno is one of the best, if not the best, shutdown lines in the NHL. You've got Fiala. I don't know what I think of Marcus Johansson at this point, but like that fourth line's been playing pretty well. Bonino and Sturm. I think Minnesota's, they've got one star and then a bunch of just, one star, one very good player in Fiala. Okay defensive core. Brodin's a very good player. Not necessarily for DFS, but Spurgeon, Dumba. I don't know. I don't think they're that bad of a roster. It's undisclosed. Yeah, that worries me. That it's undisclosed. Like, are they even saying if he's skating? Did they say today? Did he skate? Is he upper body? Everyone's guessing. Okay, sounds good. Not a playoff caliber team. Well, I mean, I think Minnesota could win this series, and I'm as high as anyone on Vegas. So I also wouldn't be surprised if Vegas won the next 4 because I think they're that good. But Minnesota already got one. They get to play this Eriksson at Greenway Foligno line for 33 minutes on home ice, which is what they probably should do for games 3 and 4. And just never know. You just never know. But they already got the important one. Now they need, if they can go up 2-0, now you get to play Eriksson against whichever line you want. That would be the dream scenario. Obviously, being up 2-0 is the dream scenario. On the Vegas side, if the sites are going to have Tuck with Stevenson Stone, I think that's going to attract a lot of ownership. We did run it with Tuck, Stevenson, and Stone. So they're going to be 20+% owned. Give me Florida 1 over them. Give me Minnesota 2 over them, I think. And then Pitt 1 for sure. I know that's a different price point, but I don't love it. I don't love a line that's not only has Chandler Stevenson on it, that hasn't been good at 5-on-5. For whatever reason, Tuck with Stevenson and Stone has not been good. If you would have told me, Pacioretty's out and they're going to stick Tuck up there, I would be like, oh yeah, that line's going to be 90% of what they were with Pacioretty, but it hasn't even been close to the case. And it's only been 63 minutes, but it's good enough. Like Stamkos last year when he was basically game time decision for a month. Okay. Yeah. God, that's so annoying too, because I would love to try to be sneaky and play a bunch of Pacioretty. I'll probably end up just making a set of lineups with Pacioretty, and I'm just going to have to eat some salary should he not play. You can drop down to Marchessault or redo your stack. You can go Stevenson Stone with Pacioretty, and then if Pacioretty doesn't play, maybe you just completely swap those 3 guys to Vegas 2. That's not a bad idea. You're probably leaving salary on the table, but if you have a cheap defenseman in this last game, there's ways to do it where you're not going to be completely screwed if you guess that he's in and you guess wrong. So just be around at 9:30 Eastern. I'll just be getting back from my softball game, and just probably late swapping the second I get home. Minnesota's deep. Yeah, I think they're pretty deep. Block shots. That's a good point. Andrew says one last thing about Minnesota. Vegas is going to shoot a lot. So who do you like for block shots? Pacioretty, one off and sub him out for Kaprizov. I like what you're saying there, Brian. I think that's a pretty good idea as well. Yeah, I think for block shots, guys that could get the bonus, I think legitimately any of these guys on Minnesota could get the bonus. Suter, Spurgeon, he's 4,800. I think that's a good price for him here. Blocks, guy that shoots it an okay amount, power play 1 with a stacked power play unit. Minnesota, give them grief because they, a lot of times throughout the season, they'll have like 2 balanced units, which I hate. I think a lot of us hate for DFS. This unit, they've been sticking with it. Fiala and Kaprizov on the same unit. tells me that they're stacking that up, and that unit's going to go out pretty much every single time first and get the first crack at it. So Spurgeon, I think the best option. Dumba's probably my second favorite guy for DFS, but if you're just looking for blocks, Susie and Cole, I think are both playable here. Vegas without Pacioretty is hobbled. Yeah, I agree. Softball, hitting a bunch of dingers. No, not really. I don't know. Maybe, I'll try. I can't hit the ball on a line drive playing softball, which is kind of a problem because there's some good fielders in this league. So I basically just go there and try not to get injured. Maybe have a beer or two. He hit a block bonus last game in just 15 minutes. There you have it. Yeah, Cole's always a guy that his block rate is pretty good. So if he's going to play 16, 17, 18 minutes here, was it Cliffy that was talking about Vegas' strategy last year against Dallas where they would get a bunch of shots, but they would be low danger shots? I can't remember if it was Cliffy or someone else I was listening to. Maybe it was like a betting podcast. Yeah, I need a hitting coach for sure for my softball league. Goalie thoughts. Yeah, good call. Goalie thoughts, and then we'll get out of here. Real quick hat trick pick. I'll take Kirill Kaprizov. I'm surprised Vegas isn't starting Leonard here. Not because Fleury wasn't awesome, but okay, when are you going to start Leonard? Is Leonard hurt? What's going on with him? Fleury's 8,400. I just don't know if he's going to see the volume to make him a likely highest scoring goalie on the slate, which you probably will need. You'll need a top 2 guy on the slate to compete in tournaments for sure with the concentrated ownership. Talbot's actually my favorite. Not saying he's not going to get lit up. He easily could get lit up. But it's just a volume thing for him at 7,500. And there's no really cheap goalies tonight. DK priced them all up. So Talbot's actually the cheapest guy at 7,500. Tristan Jarry. God, I think Drieger's probably my second favorite guy. 7,700. I really do believe in Florida. Maybe it'll galvanize them that they got wronged by the Sam Bennett suspension. They had to go back with Fleury. Why? Leonard's a better goalie. Fleury's awesome, but Leonard's like a top 3 goalie in the league. They lost. Usually fans just see the L on the scoreboard and they're just like, oh, get the new guy in, right? Like I'm surprised. I was pretty surprised to see that Florida went with Drieger in this game. And yeah, so a couple surprises here on goalies. But yeah, I like Talbot and Drieger, and I'm not going out of my way to correlate goalie tonight on a shorter slate, giving the optimizer a little bit of room to work with, targeting guys that are going to see heavy volume. So Drieger, Talbot, my 2 favorites. I think Vasilevsky actually is probably going to see a lot of volume as well. Florida just puts up a ton of shots. So 8,200 on the road in a game that's more or less a coin flip. I still think that's a pretty good price for him, for a great goalie, arguably the best goalie in the NHL. Going to see a lot of volume. Florida always does put up a lot of shots. The fans hate Leonard. Yeah. Whatever. He's an awesome goalie, whatever you think of him. But yeah, Kaprizov, my hat trick pick. I think there's going to be some fireworks in this Minnesota Vegas game. Maybe less shots, but I think there's going to be a few goals scored. So I will take the best player on the Minnesota Wild to get a hat trick. Keep an eye out for news. Stay in premium Slack chat if you're not already there. If you want to find a package that's right for you, I would suggest you take advantage of this deal, the Platinum deal. Promo code GOLDRUSH, 25% off a month-long subscription of Awesemo Plus Platinum. That's like $22, $23 off for the month. So you get to try it at a discounted rate. If you don't like it, you can always unsubscribe, turn off auto rebuild, whatever you would like to do. But if you're just going to play one sport, we've got sport-specific packages as well. So hit me up if you guys got any questions about that. If you could drop a like on your way out, maybe we could get to 2,000 likes on this show. I will get a Kirill Kaprizov tattoo if he haddies, and we get to 2,000 likes. I will get a Kirill Kaprizov wearing a Kermit the Frog jersey. How about that? Do you think having any fans in attendance is going to affect the totals? I don't see how it would, but I'm open to that for sure. I mean, I'm open to. I could definitely see how it could, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's really cool to see fans and like hearing all the like just like the screaming and like it's really fun to have fans back in the game. So, all right, I got to get out of here. There's another show coming on in just a bit. So subscribe to the channel, do all that stuff. Check out Jock Market if you guys haven't. Promo code Awesemo50 will get you $50 of a deposit bonus on your first deposit. Go check out Jock Market. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Cliffy and Josh will break it down tomorrow for a little 4-gamer.